Sorry, kids. Once again, I had to stop and start over on number 6. I did 1 through 5 in the first video. My phone rang. It was my daughter. Had to stop and answer it. Started again. Then my iPad glitched. Had to stop and delete that. And now I'm starting one more time. So now number 6 is, you have to recognize it. It's a square root graph. So the second you know it's a square root, you know it's going to look like that, right? Goes off to the right. It's half a parabola on its side. And then you could say, okay, it's going to ask you what's the transformation. So that's A. So it is shifted right 4 units and up 2 units. Okay. So that tells you, knowing it's a square root, you should know it's this shape right here. You should also know that everything we talk about is talking about the beginning point. So when I say shifted right 4 units and up 2 units, that means that right point is 4 over and up 2. It's right there. So I'll make that yellow. That's my starting point. Okay. Now, before we go over to the right one, square root of 1 is 1. I go up 1. Over to the right 4, square root of 4 is 2. I go up 2. And that would have been this graph. But that is not what's happening. We are shrinking the graph by a factor of a half, which you should write right there. So let me just write that. And up 2 units and shrunk by a factor of a half. You should include that. All right. So according to our rule about square roots, you start at the starting point. We go 1 over to the right. Square root of 1 is 1, and we go up 1. We go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2. We go up 2. And the graph would look like that. But that's not what we have. We have going over to the right 1 is square root of 1 is 1. But now we have to multiply it by a half. So 1 times a half, we go up a half. All right, so this is going to go to the right 1, up a half. It's going up and not down because the 1/2 is positive. This is a positive 1/2. Then we go to the right 4. Square root of 4 is 2. We go up 2. And then, square root of 4 is 2 times a half, because you got to multiply it by that stinking half. So again, we go over 4. Square root of 4 is 2. We would be up here. Okay? But now we have to multiply it by a half. So instead of being there, we're here. And this graph is the square root graph that shrunk by a factor of a half. All right? The domain in this case is x is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, and the range is y is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, just like over here, notice the difference. On 5, it was upside down, so the range is y is less than or equal to 5, not y is greater than or equal to 5. All right. On number 7, it's a square root graph again, so you should realize the shape. It's like that. Okay, it's written backwards from what you're used to. At the beginning point is, okay, it says describe the transformation. So, A. Shifted right, square root. Oh, sorry. graph shifted right 2, and now it's written backwards. You're used to seeing this thing right here as -5. So you just have to realize that A, you cannot combine those two, because this 2 here is multiplying the square root. So you can't just go -5 plus 2 and get -3. So that's telling you that shifted vertically down 5 units. Shifted right 2 and down 5 units. The graph is also stretched by a factor of 2. Sorry about that. By a factor of 2. So the graph would be down 5 to the right 2. It would be starting there. And then it's stretched by a factor of 2. So when we go 1 to the right, square root of 1 is 1. We would normally go up 1, but now we're multiplying it by 2. So we go over 1, up 2. Okay. Let me make sure you understand that that yellow is what the x minus 2 and the -5 in front, what it moved the square root to. Then we go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2 times 2 is 4. So we go to the right 4, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2 times 2. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And our graph is going to look something like that. Okay. The domain, okay, C, the domain is x is greater than or equal to 2. And the range is y is greater than or equal to -5. And there you go. Okay. It was stretched. Why was it stretched? It was because the number multiplying the radical, the square root, was larger than 1. Okay. Likewise, 8. On 8, it is a square root graph shifted to the left 1. So we're over here. And then down 4. So we're left 1, down 4. That puts the beginning point right there. Okay? Then the negative sign says that instead of going up to the right, like we go to the right 1, square root of 1 is 1, we would go up 1. Or in this case, multiply it by a half, we would go up a half. Because of this negative sign, we go down. So we go to the right 1, square root of 1 is 1, multiplied by a half, and we go down a half. So, right 1, down a half, there's the point. To the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, square root of 4 is 2, multiplied by a half is 1. Go over 4, down 1. Over 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Multiplied it by a half means we go down, over 9, down 1.5. 3 divided by a half by 2 is 1.5. 1 and a half. So the graph looks like that. Okay, it's shrunk by a factor of 2 or a half. Just making sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Divided by 2 is a half, 1.5. So I was wrong. That's why I had to count, because it didn't look right. Sorry. Again, we have to go down from this level, right, where it began. So over 9, square root of 9 is 3. Divided by 2 is 1.5. So we go down 1.5. Okay, that's correct. Now, this graph would look like that. Okay? And so, square root, same idea. Square root shifted left 1, because remember, if it holds hands with the variable, it does the opposite. Left 1. And down 4. Okay? It's also reflected across the x. And shrunk. Shrunk by a factor of a half. Okay? And there you go. That's through 8. Now we're graphing absolute values. Again, you need to know what an absolute value graph looks like. It looks like this. It's a V, where the slope of the right side, the slope of this side, depends on the number in front of the absolute value. So this is, oh wow. Okay, kill this one. Don't worry about B, because we didn't get into that. So don't worry about B. Matter of fact, let me just realize, let me just black it out. Okay. So on the next one, we could factor out a negative, again, the negative 3. Let's just ignore that. So that's gone, and we have this. Absolute value of x plus 3 minus 1 with a negative 3 on the outside. So this graph is a V, shifted to the left 3 and down 1. Left 3, down 1. It's right there. The fact that it's a negative in front means it's going to go down. The slope of the line going to the right is just negative 3. So we know the slope of the right line segment is negative 3. So that means we go down 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1. And then we go both ways. Okay? So to the right, down 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1. And we go both ways, and that's all that will fit. Okay. So now, and that's the graph without the 3 in front of the x. And so there's your graph. It says state domain ring. Domain is all real numbers. The range is all y. Now notice, again, the range is modified, right? As we scan up from the bottom, the graph is constantly here below negative 1. Then it stops. So y must be less than or equal to negative 1. There you go. Okay. Now, an absolute value function is graphed such that y equals f of x, right? That's supposed to be and, not and. An equation for the function. Well, f of x will equal, let's see, it's an absolute value. So you got to know this. It's shifted to the left 1, 2. Oh, I'm sorry, it's by 2. So it's 2, 4. So shifted to the left 4. So that'll be x plus 4. And down 1, 2, 3. And down 3. Okay. Now, if you look at this, we have to figure out the stretching factor, the number in front of the absolute value. So looking at this, I would say we have to go over 2, 4, counting by 2s because that's the scale, 2, 4, up to, oh, these are by 1s, golly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's over to the right 4, up 4. So it's to the right 4, up 4. It's just 1. So that's the equation for the function. So 4 over 4 is just 1. There's your function. We can check it because when x is 0, we should be right there at y equals 1. So when x is 0, 0 plus 4 is 4. Absolute value is still 4. Minus 3 is 1. It works there. If you plug in negative 8, negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Absolute value is 4. Minus 3 is 1. So it works. That's the equation. Now it says find the values of x that make f of x equal to 5. Well, how can we show that or visualize that? Well, here's 5. Right here. Sorry. That line represents y equals 5. And you can see that it intersects at x equals 4 and x equals negative 12. So we could check it by putting in 4 in here. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Absolute value is still 8. Minus 3 is 5. So that works. Negative 12. So negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. Absolute value is 8. Minus 3 is 5. So there you go. Now it's question 11. We're headed on home. Now we're talking about circles. Identify the center and radius of each. Then sketch the graph. Well, this one, because of the 8, is going to make this kind of rough. So instead of 8, let's make that 4. Okay. Then this is a circle with center at negative 4. Remember, when it's holding hands with the variable, it's the opposite. So negative 4, positive 3. To the left 4, positive 3 is right here. That's the center. Then the radius is just going to be the square root of 4, which is 2. So we go from that center, we count 2 to the right. That's a point on the graph. 2 to the left, that's another point on the graph. 2 up, that's a point. 2 down. And then we just make a circle. And there you go, and that turned out pretty well. Okay. Again, I had to change it because square root of 8 is not a pretty number. It's 2 square roots of 2. And 2 times the square root of 2 square root of 2 is 1.414. So it would be 2.82 or something. It's just an ugly number. So I had to change to make it nice. Next one, center at 2 comma negative 1. Okay, radius is the square root of 9. It's 3. So center at 2, negative 1, 2, negative 1. Here's my center. Then since the radius is 3, I count 3 in all 4 directions. 1, 2, 3. The circle goes through that one. 2, 3. The circle goes through there. 1, 2, 3 there. 1, 2, 3 here. And then you try to make it look good. And there it is. And there's the graph. Okay. 14. They give you a circle and they want you to write the equation. So we have to visualize where the center is. To me, okay, the center is going to be along here, that line. All right, because that divides the circle in half. And then the center is also going to be along, along this line. So where do they cross? Right there at negative 2, 3. So negative 2, 3. That's the center of the circle. All right. So C is negative 2, 3. So the radius from that location is, we start here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So the radius is 4. And so we have x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared. Remember, when it's next to the variable, you have to do the opposite. So the negative 2 becomes a plus 2, and the positive 3 becomes a negative 3, equals 4 squared. R squared. R squared is 16, so it equals 16. And there's your equation. Okay, 15. Describe the transformations of the parent function of the square root function that produces this graph. Then graph the function and state the domain and range. So the transformation, it is shifted up 4 units and reflected around the x-axis. That's the negative sign on the outside. That's this. Not only that, it's reflected around the y-axis because of the negative sign on the x on the inside. All right, so we begin here at 4. Now, usually, if it wasn't a negative sign on the inside, we go to the right 1, square root of 1 is 1, and we go up 1. To the right, 2, 3, 4, up 2. To the right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up 3. But that's not what's going on. It's going to the left because it's reflected. So, and also, instead of going up, it goes down. So we go over to the left 1, down 1. To the left 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2. To the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, down 3. Would be right there. And then this is the graph. Okay, so there's the graph. The domain is all x. In this case, since it's going to the left, less than or equal to 0, because it's to the left of the y-axis, and the range is all y less than or equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it'll be 4, less than or equal to 4. Okay, and that is it. All right, the answers are here of the ones. Notice that it didn't always, the answers here don't always support the question because the question was a little, you have to, I had to modify it to make it more interesting, but this is pretty much your test. I hope this helped. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on test day. Yay!